or no?
Yeah. She's the quiet one, though.
I love it. All right. We're live. We are live. All right. So welcome, everybody. We have today another session with our partners over at Refocus Marketing. We have Andy on, owner, CEO. We've worked on a number of projects together. And today we're focusing on just retargeting, right? We're the advanced ways in which we approach this now with our clients and how that's readily available for those that are on the call and to activate against it. The big thing here for those, it's we work really hard, spending time and money building our databases. And so now we want to make sure that we're building the systems that predictably generate revenue within those databases. So we're going to continue to dive deep into this. And because Andy knows all the ins and outs of specifically retargeting and reactivating leads, that's a huge focus for a number of our clients. So we're going to dig into that a little bit here today. So Andy, if you don't mind, I'm going to toss it to you. Introduce yourself. And then why don't you just kick it off with like what most people like define retargeting at and really the problems that exist with some of the methodology that you typically see. And we'll go from there.
Yeah, I think it's a really good place to start. So for those of you who haven't attended or haven't seen me in the past, so Andy Shearer, founder of Refocus Marketing, we are essentially like our tagline, if you will, is that we take people from unknown to unmissable. That's where we focus on. And I think the retargeting aspect is a huge piece of that. So I'll just jump off and go into the deep end, I guess. Where everyone starts, man, is if someone goes to the website, and I see this all the time with so many different agencies that are out there, and they claim that they're doing retargeting, and it's, well, as soon as someone hits the website, we're gonna show them your ads as soon as they hit the website.
Yeah.
And if I were to correlate that over to like a college course, that is like the Gen Ed 101. Everyone should be doing something to that effect at the end of the day. So I think that's what a lot of people will look at. And then obviously they'll start to wrap in. So from there, they'll wrap in, well, I'm sending email campaigns or drip emails or whatever else. And like how we look at it is that's more of like the nurture and conversion aspect, and providing value along the way, where the retargeting, what we're looking to do is get in front of those folks 8 to 24 different times, really over like a 30-day time period. So that's a 10,000 foot view of where we're headed.
Yeah, we do this a lot with Agent Legend. We do this with some of the other companies in our portfolio, but we are at the very, like, this was eye-opening for us, being the data-driven company that we are, is creating unique journeys and custom journeys for every single contact in your database, which you guys nail. You do a really great job of it. And once it's set up, it's on autopilot. You're just kind of moving pieces around. Yeah. A lot of people think retargeting or re-engagement or reactivation is, dripping on your database with emails or texts, having ISAs, engaging leads that maybe are on your website. And that is a piece if you jot them down on a left or right type of a funnel. But the way that you approach it is there's more to it, where you're building a lot more of that awareness. You're building a narrative. I hear you say that all the time, is the narrative of the brand, which for some of you who are, hey, what's my fastest path to revenue? Those are leads that you can work today, sales qualified leads. But a lot of what you guys do is marinating, my understanding, and you clarify this for those that are in attendance, is like you're really marinating those other opportunities, the thousands of leads that are already there. And they're seeing your brand, but they're not seeing a generic version of your brand. You're customizing the journey for them. Almost if you were to map this out in like a board of sorts. Is that accurate, or correct me and tell our users just like?
I think it's great. And again, I think it's, as you said, it's sort of learning along the way with how you guys are approaching stuff too. So for us, it's what we want to do is teach people who you are, why the way you are, God help certain companies, what you do uniquely in that field, how you help people, what your unique expertise, your unique stories are. And And then at the end of the day, give them more opportunity to further engage with you. And that's the call to action piece. So it's an educational process. It's brand awareness. It's again, becoming omnipresent and being available for people. I said this last week, but it's skating where the puck is going, and it's being where people are and inside of those conversations, because the technology is only getting smarter. And that's one of the aspects of how we leverage stuff like your data in order to sort of craft that narrative and meet those people on the journey where they exactly are.
Yeah. So let's talk about that. We'll unpack that. When you talk about data, that's kind of, it's all over the place. You got first party data, third party data. To clarify for those, like you get, when it comes to retargeting, you can break your audiences down based on engagement and activity. I think that's what a lot of people do. Yeah. Who's clicking on my emails? Who's been to my website 5 times in the last week? That's a better lead than somebody who came once and didn't arrive ever again. Well, from a marketing standpoint, and you can again cut me off, but like we get thousands of messages per day, marketing wise, right? Everywhere we're looking, our phones are dinging everywhere else. So I might be on your website today, but I might be on Zillow tomorrow. I might be on realtor.com the next day. I may be on Bremat, your competitor's website the next day. And so if you're not seeing that information, you kind of lose sight of me and you don't know where I am in that journey. So what we proactively provide are the third-party insights on top of that give you an idea of who I am. So am I a first-time home buyer, move-up buyer, downsizer, et cetera? And where am I in my path to purchase? Those two is what I really want to dig into a little bit here, because you guys have nailed it when it comes to what you do, right? Is you take that information, once we have successfully segmented a database appropriately, right? You all have lists and people that you're dialing every single day, but you should also have these customer journeys built out as well. So give just some examples there. I want to attribute it to some of my time in the corporate days of what we would do. And then just like now this is all available for solopreneurs, businesses that are growing. It is readily available now. And that's why we're big advocates around that, because put yourself in the consumer's shoes. You want to be offered stuff that you actually are in the market for, and data provides that capability now.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I love food, dude. So for me, like if I were to go and I really want Mexican food, right? Like there's a great Mexican restaurant, and then you're telling me that I can't have that Mexican restaurant, or you're trying to serve me something that is not that, I'm not going to be happy. That's what the retargeting really should be. It's the personalized messaging based on where the person is in their own unique journey.
Yep. Here's
what's interesting, man. I all of these, we talked about Amazon pre-show, and I think that's important for people to understand. Like that is outside of selling books, they were into capturing data and customizing book recommendations off of that said data. And then it just expanded from there that, hey, we want to be the person or the company that is going to deliver the fastest way and whatever else. And you probably do too. God knows my wife orders enough. And if Jen is watching, I apologize, babe. But if we're going that route, right, it's personalized recommendations, it's personalized storytelling, personalized narrative, but it is off of what you said. Are you an upsizer, and what stage of that journey are you actually in? So Amazon's been doing this forever. That's the key to their success. Why are we not, as business owners, replicating that exact freaking thing?
Yeah.
And we have the ability to at this point.
So I'm jumping the gun. Even that you told me not to do this, I'm going to do it because I want to keep those that are on here so that we can connect the dots and ask questions, guys, here. But what Andy is illustrating here is most people, and I'm just sharing a database that is, for example, in example purposes, right? Most people view like everybody in their database should just get the same communication, should get the same vanilla flavor. You said
it's the 2-year drip, buddy. It's we're just going to put them on a 2-year drip campaign, and then eventually they're going to,
eventually it'll work. You'll strike gold. Well, that is not predictable. It's really difficult to nail that equation. Now, what you can now do is, and this is kind of equating to how Amazon does it, but in a more, let's just real estate and mortgage specific cadence here, is taking the first thing that we want to do is with the data and insights that are already at your disposal. These are things that are at your disposal, is you take and you break them down by sales qualified lead, marketing qualified lead. These are items that we can help you with in terms of your database. If you have somebody working in the database, just filter based off of, you could just do activity or get the insights that actually share with you, like this person they look like people who have recently bought or sold. Mm-hmm. You see scoring now. A lot of platforms are adopting scoring, and they're getting better, right? I think when the first early adopters had them, it was, well, these really don't work well. I think people are tinkering with it. Well, now with the advancements of AI is really great at ingesting a ton of data. So you can run your database through those mechanisms and spit out, and really helping your team segment in nothing else. Clearly differentiating marketing and sales qualified leads is huge, because for you, Andy, right, that dictates, what are we saying? What calls to action are we providing these people? Are we even calling them to action, or do we need more awareness-based messaging to continue to make sure our brand is front and center? And then when they become a sales qualified lead, look at how Zillow does it, right? You download their app, they're pinging you. If they know that you've been in there, yep, they're going to give you push notifications and keep nudging you so that eventually you make that decision through their platform. So they've done a really good job of it. Now, the next layer that we bring them into is, well, how do we get even more personalized with this? So we have our branding, marketing qualified leads. When they become a sales qualified lead, now let's get even more granular here, but it's got to be easy. This is stuff that you can automatically just ingest back into your database, where now you're breaking these people up into logical cohorts or groupings. These are smart lists, right? Smarter. First-time home buyers, move-up buyers, downsizers, investors, you name the different types of people, refi candidates if you're on the mortgage side. That then dictates what you're saying to them. And now you have personalized journeys, and then it's just plumbing. These leads are working their way through. You have the logic built into your systems. And then the moment that they need to talk to a salesperson, you make sure the salespeople are talking to people who are ready to buy or sell. That's what they're really great at. But what we see a lot of is inefficiencies and margins that are lost, just chasing the wrong stuff. And so that's the key of what we want more, that adoption of, is building smarter systems that predictably generate revenue for the business. And ultimately what it does, we all exit, we all get buried in the ground one day. Nobody's even thinking about this, probably, who's on the call, but ultimately you're able to hand this system over, and it's worth something. And so that is the key of, like, the more you know, the more dangerous you can be with how you approach everyday marketing and sales activities. And where you're going with Amazon, it was dead on. Like, they know the data, the key is in the data, because now they can customize that journey and give you the stuff that you actually really, really want.
And for whatever it's worth, put it in front of you at the right time.
Correct.
So right time, right message, right person. And that's what you're able to get with retargeting through the data that you guys are filtering through, and obviously the lead scoring, the ICPs. And just to sort of give, like, the easy way, if you will, because I think anybody could do this, right? Like, is Refocus ridiculously proficient at this? I'm a little bit biased. I'm going to say yes, but I think everyone can do this if all they did was spend a little bit of time to figure out, okay, well, how do I add to a custom audience inside of Facebook? Because some of the stuff that you guys have, let's take downsizers. Like, I personally love downsizers. I think downsizers should be like the bread and butter for the majority of real estate agents. My gosh, lenders can work wonders with downsizers too. So you take the data that you have, the lead scoring, and it might be a downsizer, and you're not giving them things that are blanketed messaging like what you had talked about just before. And I think you were hitting the nail right on the freaking head. But you might be doing, hey, these are off-market properties specifically geared towards people who are looking to not settle for quality of home, but increase quality of lifestyle as well. And your messaging, and again, I go towards, like, narrative. Your narrative changes specifically because of that data, because it meets that person exactly where they are. You're talking specifically to sellers, and hey, by the way, these are off-market properties, so it's a high-value piece for that particular audience. and you're causing more opportunity for conversion just as a result of the data.
Yep. Now, how do we simplify that for everybody? Like, again, how do we simplify some of this? Because
So I'll go step by step. I mean, I think step one, dude, is exactly what you guys already do, and that's creating the smart lists.
Yep.
Step two is then that smart list is a sales qualified lead. So this is going to that specific example. So in terms of your systems, how do they know when a sales qualified lead hits?
Yep.
Right. So if they have that audience, there's an automation and an integration with Facebook there if they're inside of Follow Up Boss, and the majority of CRMs have this capacity as well, you can upload into a custom audience automatically through the workflow, through the automation, and just have your ads running specifically to that audience. That's the most basic way to do it.
Yep.
There's more intricacies, like we can add some more spices to it, but I think we keep it simple right now. And like that is the step-by-step, literally a 3-step to giving more opportunity for people to raise their hand more.
Yeah. You also, as you're working with clients, you ask them for, obviously they have to do some work. So they have to provide content, or they're generating content. You guide them on this. What I like is if you're able to understand, I think some people on this call, they deem themselves as like, I'm the first time home buyer specialist, or I only work with people of an income over this amount. What's been a great exercise is like, okay, but let's actually look and let's see who's in your existing database. And is that the truth? And I think 9 times out of 10, as we've worked together, that is not the theme of who's actually in the database. And so if you're positioning yourself one way, you're alienating a whole large grouping of people in your system, the people that maybe know, like, and trust you even. And so if you get strategic about making sure that you almost act as a chameleon, you're saying the right things to the right people at precisely the right time. If we just get it there, you can nail that. And now you have the right information at your fingertips to, again, create those journeys. And then you have a more predictable result on the back end of it.
Yeah, I think it also, and to take it one step further too, for those of you who are like, I don't want to run Facebook ads because I've heard that they don't work.
Yeah. Yes. Oh, we do that. Tell us more.
Yeah, dude, like I can tell you that Facebook is by far your highest ROI. Meta ads are your highest. I don't care. We crush Zillow, like for whatever it's worth. And I know I'm naming the big Z on this, so I apologize if we get siphoned out a little bit here. But like we crushed Zillow with Google pay-per-click. But Facebook leads, dude, is the highest ROI, something that you and I talked about. And I want to bring this up because I think this is really important for people to understand, because almost everyone is buying leads in some way, shape, or form. Yep. So I'm going to go one step further. People are spending, I don't know, man, anywhere from $5 a lead to $50 a lead, depending on the source.
Yep.
How you're enriching data allows them to come up with a better message, meet them at the journey, and truth be told, at the end of the day, convert at a higher level, so they're not wasting money and only converting at a 1% rate. Yeah. If you are retargeting, your ratio should be over 12% conversion ratio if you are retargeting the right way. But
what period of time do you look at?
Have they died?
Yeah. Okay. Got it. We're following. Okay.
Yeah. Can I still fog a mirror? No. That's basically where we are headed, dude. It's how in front of them can we be? Because if it's not a problem that they have right now, it will be, especially if they own a home, it will be a problem for them in the future. We just don't know when. It's right message, right time, right person. But again, unless you have the database enrichment like what you guys do, there's no way to really know that. You are going blanket statement, or you're hoping and praying that what you think you have in your database is the reality of what you're able to convert.
Yeah.
So I would rather have an agent or a mortgage person spend, $16 on a lead or $20 on a lead, and then go spend pennies inside of retargeting, and $5 later, 24 touches later, you're in conversation and you actually understand where this person is, and you can better help at the end of the day.
Yeah. We used to the customer acquisition costs are what most people we come into, because they want the flashy, the shiny objects. That's all fine and dandy, but we got to think through what you also is like, okay, how do we convert that lead the first time in a 12-month time frame? I'm willing to pay $2 for a Facebook lead as long as my systems that I have set up can predictably convert them. So I know that if I sick my agents trying to hammer Facebook leads, they're going to get burnt out, and they're going to think the leads suck. And so, no, we as a business make the decision to say, we're still going to generate any new contact in my CRM is gold. For all we know, we compute that to say we're in this for the long haul. At some point, that homeowner is going to move. At some point that happens. There's going to be an event. And most people get fixated on kind of the first transaction. So as you're looking at it, like, pay more for higher quality leads, the ones that have collapsed that time frame. That's the big Z equation. Is like people that complain about the costs there. No, because Big Z has done the work to get them through the funnel. What this is aimed towards is building your own defensible moat for the people on here. Your business, at the end of the day, you need to have that moat that protects you from, if I'm 100% invested in Big Z and they shut off my spigot, I'm dead in the water. And so let's work through that to understand the journey and just have these things going on autopilot. And then when that lead is ready, now we get to the fun stuff, which is, okay, my agents can work that pool of qualified opportunities. And it's already done the work of, they know us, they know, like, and trust us. There's less sales that needs to go into that equation. I also like to focus on, okay, what about all these past clients that we successfully closed last year, whatever that looks like. Retargeting is a huge piece, keeping your brand in front of them. And then the attribution. So how do I measure? How do I make sure that, like, that past client may refer me to people? And so by just seeing my impression there, compute that cost, a couple, pennies to get back in front of them. That is when you finally get these little pieces in place and document them and how you're treating each cohort of people, you'll see these jumps. And now we always talk about mining the gold in the old. That's a lot of what we do. Most people want new flashy objects and leads. Well, that's expensive and low margin work. The gold is in that existing. And so once you start getting wins on people back in your pipeline because you're retargeting them, they get the requisite communication that speaks directly to the problem that they want to solve. And now you have your agents activating those opportunities. Now you say, that lead came in 12 months ago. They're not trash. They're not dead. Don't call your leads dead, by the way. They're still alive. They have a pulse. The fog.
I even would, dude, I'll go one step further. I don't think that people should call a lead. That's
great. That interesting. Tell us more. And then I want to get to some of these questions.
Yeah, I think some of the questions too are really good. But listen, man, when we start calling, this is my personal perspective, right? When we start calling leads, we end up dehumanizing that person. I hate to go down that road, but that's basically, like, we go transactional instead of relationship and high value. Real estate and mortgage is one of the highest value things that you guys can do. And if you're an agent or you're a team or you're a mortgage broker, you're highly skilled, believe it or not. Like, so it's a high relationship, high touch, high value game. If all you do is like, well, I'm paying $16 for a lead. No, what you're doing is paying $16 for an opportunity to build a relationship.
Yeah.
The data that you guys have, and I said this before pre-show, and hopefully everyone that's watching can, like, this is star, highlight, circle. There is a story inside of the data. If you guys are with Agent Legend, you get a metric ton of freaking data points. But at the end of the day, there's a story inside of there. And that's what the journey is for that particular lead, that particular person. They may not be ready to convert right now. They may not be ready to convert 10 months down the road, but 12 months, 14 months, 18 months. I had someone inside of my database that converted after 3 freaking years of looking at properties every day.
Yeah, we all have those. I think a lot of people have that story of, like, I converted this, it came out of the woodwork. But the key here that I want everybody to take away is, like, but you need to make sure that isn't luck, because that stuff happens, right? Predictability is in the tactics that we are conveying. I loved what you said there. I want it to be a t-shirt, but you're not paying $16. You're not paying $16 for a lead. You're paying $16 to build a relationship. That is tough to do if I'm trying to generate a lead, hand it off to an agent. Agents aren't always in the business of creating relationships. If you're a team leader on this call, if you're an owner, that's not typically all, that's not going to be it all the time. We like to say that, but that's when they're like a client, and that's when the relationship is. Take a few steps. Let your business, this is all the business tactics that we're deploying out. Let the business generate that for you, so that they already know what you're about. They know what you stand for, and they know exactly the problems that you can solve for them. And that's the relationship. That's profound stuff, Andy. I love it.
Love it.
Good.
Some good questions. Let's tackle these things.
Yeah, let's rattle through a couple of these. So I saw a couple around. It looks like our team shared downsizer, an example of a downsizer campaign. So just create a free account. There's no credit card required or anything to access that campaign, and you can just copy it out and go use whatever systems that you want. The link that was shared is just what's already in our system, and it just predictably generates results. So to clarify any confusion there, I would just create your account, grab it, and then don't feel obligated to continue on with our service. But hopefully that's of value to you guys. We have campaigns that we can share for any use case. I saw one here from Sam earlier, so he's been very patient, or she. Sounds like Agent Legend is for buyer or seller prospects. For those of us that focus primarily on referrals, what does Agent Legend do for homeowner clients that are likely to refer clients to us? Great question. So I think we can combine both of these. Is we mentioned just if you're a referral-based agent, allocate some semblance of your budget towards retargeting that database. So do what you can based on the budget that you have readily available, keeping you in front of all those past clients. Speaking about the high touch service that you provide. As it relates to Agent Legend, we activate campaigns for, we try to steer clear of past clients, right? They're all clients, right? They're all opportunities. I can't say lead anymore, apparently, Andy, now. So whatever we want to classify those people are, but it's just the beginning of a journey of a new relationship, whether it's with that client and they want to buy another property with you, or they want to refer you. These are items like we do letters that we deploy out on autopilot to our clients. They're all set up in systematic campaigns, but we're using what we showed you before, the data component, to make sure that we get away from spraying and praying. If you've heard that term before, we want to make sure that the outreach is with intention, but it's still scalable, because that's how you unlock the margin in your business and go from the single digits into the double digits very quickly there. So we're happy to help you with just how we do that on a day-to-day basis, because we kind of break down that database like I showed you, and then we get to work on the strategies that we deploy out from there.
Can I go one step further with you on that one?
Yeah, go 3.
So I think we look at past clients, and I mean, I've been an agent since 2012, and I was in mortgages prior to, and we think about past clients, and we should be getting referrals or whatever else. But I think some of the data that you guys are able to provide, and we've sort of alluded to this, and just to drill home a little bit more, you may think that you're closing certain people or certain areas. The data allows you to find common denominators across all of your clients. So inside of that data, and again, I'm a big advocate for being personalized and high value inside of those touches. You may find a string of commonalities, and then strategically you're looking at your business to say, okay, well, I want to attract more people like Steve. And because I want to attract more people like Steve has this common denominator with all these other people. And because of that, they are needing XYZ.
Yep.
Now your marketing starts to become much more fine-tuned. Your messaging becomes much more fine-tuned around attracting more people exactly like the client that you just helped.
Yep. The question we get a lot of is how complex is this to set up? Like, give us an idea of like the overhaul. If I'm kind of on the ecosystem, like I hear this sounds like a lot of content that I have to create. This sound right? Like,
no, man, you got AI, you're good.
Okay. No.
Let's go on the DIY like Home Depot side of things. All right. Like I don't have a team. I don't want to do this. I don't have all I have is 30 minutes, but I have what Agent Legend gave me. I have the ICPs. I have the smart lists. I have I can find the common denominators, if you will, inside of all of that. Plug it into. I'm a big advocate of Gemini and Claude. ChatGPT. I think it's on like that C tier right now, but it is what it is. So like if you go towards those and be like, hey, listen, I want to give a guide to people who are exactly like this client that I helped. It's going to spit out a couple different things for you, and you can challenge it. Obviously, don't just take it word for word, but it's going to take you 30 minutes to come up with something that's high value that you can deliver with your unique perspective. Don't just copy and paste. But you don't need much time, man. I mean, 30 minutes a week.
Yeah, I love it. So that's great. I mean, I know everybody's at different advancements of AI, and the prompting is big. Providing it the right information is absolutely critical. And so the other question that came up, I think this was Sam again, is as it relates to retargeting, how is there a minimum number of contacts? Like kind of what's that threshold to give it a substantial amount of information to go out and find lookalikes or anything like that?
Yeah. So here's what's cool. If it's on platform, so if it's on Facebook or on Instagram platform, it's 100% match.
Okay. Awesome.
So you don't need a certain number or anything else around those lines. So for those of you who are like, I don't want to ask my clients to follow my business page, probably a huge mistake. Probably a big mistake right there. Every single one of your clients should be interacting with your posts, following your business page, because that's how you're going to retarget those folks. So the match rate inside of another piece. I don't think I've talked to you about this. So this is good too. The match rate cold. You upload name, phone number, email address, maybe city inside of Facebook for that stuff. You're going to typically get between a 10 to 20% match rate with retargeting. So which means that you need about 1,000 people in order to make it worthwhile. Your data, enriched data, allows you guys to see upwards of 40 to 50% match rate just because Facebook is looking for those specific things. So the match rate goes up, which means that you don't need as high of a database target, and it's a lot easier.
Wow. Man. Okay. You're distilling some wisdom here. I like it. All right. So we are 30 minutes in or just over there. We got one here from Joe. Are you creating your own campaigns or allowing agent? I think you guys create your own campaigns. I've seen what Andy does with taking really like who's the ICP of the client, and then distilling this down into how do we treat these cohorts of people, right? We help provide you guys with some of that information that you bring into those conversations, and then you get to work on building those ecosystems. Where Agent Legend comes in specifically is going to be when that lead becomes a sales qualified opportunity. That's when we're best at what we do. But unlike other platforms, we are not wasting your precious money messaging people all along the journey, right? A big piece of the topic here today is around like, we don't want you just to set up a generic monthly text message and email that says, hey, are you still looking for a home? Just checking in.
Yep.
That leads to unsubscribes. It leads to opt-outs. There's a whole, for those that know email deliverability, for those that know the phone carriers, the world that I get to live in each and every single day is each one of those stop or opt-outs creates a trail. And so the less you have of those, it's good on you. The more you're going to land in the new iPhone's messaging arena. And so making sure that you're, again, showing up, reaching the right people, right message, right time. Now, you might think that because I'm only talking to a select part of my database that I'm missing opportunity. It's not the case. You have all of the artillery support that's there. They're providing the aerial support for your business so that you're spending your time and money on the people that have the fastest path to revenue. And that's big, right? So let the others marinate and marinate and marinate. And when they're ready to get thrown on the grill, then your resources are there to tackle them, whether it's money through a platform like Agent Legend, and we're deploying messages, or time. It's your agents, the agents that don't want to be chasing shiny objects and activity. They want to be chasing intent. So that's a big piece of what we want each and every one of you to take away from the call here.
Yeah, and Joe, I'll simplify that as well. Dude, don't leverage Agent Legends campaigns if you're with them. They are tried, true, data driven, and not emotional feel at that point in time, man. So don't create, just use that and modify as you go.
Yeah. So Leon had a question around, is there AI built into your platform to help with engagement? Yes. So there's two pieces. You got AI agents that are being deployed. We produced one. Her name's Lily, and she's your database manager. So think about if you hire a virtual assistant, an ISA, or you just have like automations that are kicking into gear. Our database manager is living and breathing in that system at all time. And so Andy's alluded to like our data set. So first party data, this is all the information in your CRM that's taking place. That's where a big majority of the market is currently just, hey, what's the activity? And that will then help my AI decide who I should be talking to. We layer in third party data. So that's the offline behavior. Those are the things that the Amazons and the Targets, the Fortune 500s of the world are aggregating for you. We just do that for you. So what that looks like is think about cookie behavior. If they're searching on a different website, we can bring that insight into your system. If they're buying certain goods and services on their credit card, we can bring that in. And then, yeah, the life event data is certainly readily available, but it's not just your 5Ds and the death, diamonds, divorce, diplomas, and diapers. We have over 1,600 unique data points that this is the AI component. AI is really great at ingesting large amounts of data. That's what we do. We pump that information in, and then we say, who within your database looks like people who have recently bought or sold in the market. That's an oversimplification. If my engineers are on this call, they will be barking at me afterwards, but that's how I simplify, is just say it's a lookalike audience to say who just recently bought or sold, what stuff are they doing? And it's not just, are they clicking on properties? Are they clicking on emails? Because we all know there's a lot of tire kickers that are out there, and that's what most people chase. And that's a recipe for low margin work at the end of the month when you're looking at your P&Ls. So
can you give those D's again, please?
Oh, do you think I can do them? Death, diamonds, divorce, diplomas, diapers. I get them?
If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball. Let's go.
The dodges. Yes, there you go. See, that's great. I knew you were going, but that's what we used to use, right? So
I love that.
We used to rely upon that. Now it was a start. I go back to what we started this conversation with is predictive analytics have been around. They're not new. But now they're just getting more advanced. And what's helped with that is the advancements in artificial intelligence, which can now analyze just massive amounts of data. And it's all available, right? We just look into your database and we give you those insights specific to your business to move it forward. And why we did that is messaging is expensive now. In my world, probably for you too, Andy, you have to be very sensitive about cost per lead, but also all the expenses incurred to reach back out to those people. In my world, it's every text, every handwritten letter that we deploy through our production facility, every email not so much, but voicemails that we deploy out as well. And the conversational AI, if we aren't laser focused on deploying our dollars and our messaging to the right people, then our performance goes down, and we might strike gold 1 out of every 1,000, but we like to 10x those response rates by using the information at our disposal to build better moats.
Love that.
All right, so we are at 40 minutes. We still we want to wrap this up. If there's any other questions, jump into the chat. We'll tackle those with the time that we have remaining. But we always like to kind of provide people some value in terms of thanking them for their time and attention in this call. So Andy, I know you guys produce something that if anybody's of interest, that you can provide them. I believe it's like a deep dive audit of sorts into their business. But why don't you kind of capitalize on that with those that are still viewing?
Yeah, I think for those of you who are looking to become unmissable, if you will, right? To be that go-to person in your market. What we used to call it, by the way, and I really love this, is that hyperlocal hero, especially for a real estate agent or mortgage broker or mortgage loan officer. More than happy to do. What we do is like a 90-minute to a 2-hour deep dive into really an audit of your position inside of the market, what you currently do, your unique selling propositions. I think that's an antiquated way of saying it, but and then at the end of the call, you have a full action plan of how to improve your positioning and obviously your overarching dominance in the market for that matter. So we look through everything from like social media profiles, Google business profiles, your website. We look at optimizing for AI search engines, as well as obviously Google and Bing and Yahoo. But you will have literally a step-by-step 90-day action plan at the end of that call for exactly what you need to do. And then if you're like, hey, listen, I can't do it, I'll talk through ways on how you can partner with us in order to make that happen a little bit faster.
That's awesome. Yeah, I encourage everybody to check out your site. You have I don't know exactly everybody that's on here, for the most part, real estate and mortgage, but you've worked with other industries as well. Which, is really, really neat to see as well. So, Andy, we always appreciate your time. And then for us at Agent Legend, we do a complimentary database audit, really tease us up to identify like, how do we propose the right subscription for you? And so we do a complimentary analysis. You can take that information and segment your own database and do with it as you may. So you'll see that on our website. Go and check it out. And we'd welcome a conversation with each and every one of you. We got, let's see here. Joe Latanzio had one. Oh, let's just rattle through some of these questions, Andy, because it might be helpful. And, that way we have a little bit more time. So what have you seen for our ROI for someone new signing up? Any success stories? So, Andy, we can allude to, I think the metrics you want to talk to, that if you have case studies, we can share those out. What I can speak to, because we kind of live in our own silos, but Agent Legend, we've been around for 10 years. My partners and I acquired this business. We ran a real estate business here in Minneapolis and St. Paul market. And we bought it for the data and insights that it already had and the connections into CRMs. So we had this treasure trove of all these great campaigns. Since we've turned on Lily, that database management solution, and activated campaigns by using that solution on top of our campaigns, we see consistently a 4 to 10x higher response rate. Now we control response rates for our clients. So in terms of that return on investment, tougher to attribute back to if that actually reached the closing table, but our job is to really get that conversation kicked off for our clients. Andy, I don't know if you have anything anecdotally that you can speak to there to help Brad.
My dogs are freaking out. My daughter just got home too, dude, so I apologize. Now, I think, especially with the question here, the ROI, at least for, and I'll speak directly for you guys. I think people are always looking for, well, what's the tangible ROI? So if I'm spending $1, am I getting $4 back? I think it goes far beyond that, in my opinion. My dogs are nuts. But it goes far beyond that. The reason why is because it actually equips you and your business far beyond the $1 and you get $4 back or anything else around those lines. So if you guys are spending money on data and enriching the data and allowing the campaigns to go to work for you, without a hesitation, there's going to be a lift, and I would say at least a 20% lift in your qualified sales conversations, simply by leveraging Lily and then also leveraging the overarching campaigns that are inside of Agent Legend. I don't want to say that I guarantee that, but guys, if you actually are consistent with running that gosh darn system and allowing the tools to go to work for you, there should be a 20, and then you guys are also consistently using the tool, you will end up seeing a significant lift in your qualified sales conversations as a result. So that's, and I don't get paid anything for this. Like, it is literally just a give back for you guys. There is ROI in that enrichment. There's ROI inside of the AI Lily, and the campaigns themselves are worth its weight in gold.
Awesome. And then Joe had a question here about just with, if you're using, we're a piece of the tech stack. Each one, even you can kind of be part of that marketing mix, right? How we frame effectively what we do and how we really are an insurance policy on the other platforms that you're using, right? We give the insights that can help make those products and solutions better. So we give the insights to help Andy at Refocus and the efforts that they're deploying. As it relates to AI tools, right? We see these all the time where we allow them. I'll use like conversational AI, where think about these platforms have built really decent out of the box solutions, but you still are responsible, in my opinion, to provide them with a layer of insight that will power them, right? And so that's where we fit into the mix. And so we do. I always use that insurance policy on, we're a cost per contact for each one, but it gives you more than just a name, email, and phone to go off of. You saw the cohorts that we provide. So context for those solutions is key, and that's what we provide. We match that information to the person and give you just a treasure trove of relevant information in that equation. So this is all stuff that, like, again, we at Agent Legend, we are consumer insights, right? Most enrichment that you hear out there is going to be property-based enrichment. Let's update name, phone, and email. Yes, that's all fine and dandy, but we want to tell you the who behind that person in your CRM. And that's a great way to think about how we show up each and every single day for our clients. All right, Andy, this is great. Before your dogs decide to bark a little bit more, we can't thank you enough for your time and attention and coming on. We're going to have you on again. So for those of you who did attend, you'll obviously get the recording, everything else that follows. Message our team if there's a topic that you guys want to dig into more with Andy, because we want to make sure that we're moving the needle for what problems that you're currently experiencing in the business. So thank you, everybody who's still on live. If you're viewing this as a recording, thank you for checking out the content, and we hope to see you again soon. Thanks, everyone.